Hello, my friends! This is Wakeangel2K1 coming at you with something I've been looking forward to for a long time. The movie Sonic the Hedgehog figures in 4-inch scale. Now, these were sent to me by my good friend Zeus the Fox, who was able to find them in his local Targets. As far as I'm aware, these are showing up in some of the New York Targets, but not the one that I was able to get to. But we are taking a look at them. Now, to save on shipping, he had the packages opened, but I specifically wanted him to send the Knuckles one on the card because this one has a hilarious error, but we'll get to that. You have the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 logo represented very nicely on top, along with, again, this really good artwork of Sonic running towards the camera, and I'm super happy that this is on official merchandise instead of a bunch of bootleg crap. And the figure is nicely displayed within. All the figures are displayed just like this. I like how the blister bubble just has them in a neutral stance and isn't trying to pose them, because I have seen, especially back in the Jazzwares days, packaging that tries to pose the figures in an interesting way, messing up their joints. So this is good. Alright. So the back of the box has a basic bio for Knuckles. Knuckles is a tough echidna with no time for small talk. He's on a mission to find the greatest power in the universe, and action speaks louder than words. Paired with a very nice glamour shot of the figure. And then you see the other figures in the wave, including the other Knuckles. Yes, the taller, slimmer Knuckles with a mustache. Yep, I mean, he's red, so who else could he be, right? Yep, that's Knuckles, alright. Yeah, I mean, I have seen some of these blisters, like, Dr. Robotnik is labeled correctly. So, like, this is a running change. They put these out like, hey, you accidentally put Knuckles' name under Robotnik. Oops. And then they fixed it. So this is a thing that happened. That's kind of hilarious. Okay, so enough talk about the packaging. Let's actually get these figures on the table so we can get a good look at them. So here are the 4 figures standing side by side, looking phenomenal, if I might say. They just look fantastic. They are wonderfully painted. The sculpt is just awesome. And Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails at least scale very well with each other. Tails is pretty much the right height next to Sonic. And they even have Knuckles just a little bit taller because, like I said, canonically speaking, he is a year older. Of course, the Dr. Robotnik figure, by that token, feels a little bit underscaled. Like, if this is true here, then he would barely be 4 feet tall. Like, my grandma is taller than that, and she is a very small woman. So yeah, unless Dr. Robotnik is secretly Mario, I don't think that this is proper scale. But then, that's just what the 2.5-inch line is for, because when you put the 2.5-inch figures next to this Robotnik, which I will move over here for, then all of a sudden they look much better. This actually looks like the scale you would expect to see based on those movie trailers. So, yes, I think that was the long game, the secret to getting you to buy both sets. I'm sorry, I'm just fumbling around here. Tails' tails are getting in the way. So yeah, you get the 2.5-inch series so that you can have it next to the 4-inch scale Robotnik, and then everybody is in scale with each other. That works. So yeah. And this isn't the last time I'm going to be referencing the 2.5-inch line, but let us move on with an individual look at each figure. So we begin with Sonic the Hedgehog himself, the main character. He does come with an accessory, of course, which is this snowboard, which looks like a panel ripped off from a wall somewhere. Obviously an homage to the helicopter aileron from Sonic Adventure 2. I will not hear any theories otherwise. The only thing that could make this better is if there was a G printed on it somewhere, like it was a bulkhead at a G1 facility. But you know, like the movie hasn't come out yet, so I'm not sure what this panel is actually from. It could be from Dr. Eggman's base or something like that. But you know, if it actually does turn out to be a GUN facility, like, it's a massive missed opportunity that there's no G there. The board has 2 peg holes placed strangely close together, but they are perfectly placed so that you can put the holes on Sonic's shoes into them, and he stands on it. Of course, this is just like if you want it to be a stand to make sure the figure won't fall over while it's on display, but it of course doesn't look all that dynamic. Of course, you don't have to use both pegs. You can always get Sonic's legs in a different position to make it look more like he's riding the board properly. See? Just like that. So the figure is very posable. He has pin disc hips, pin disc knees, pin disc shoulders, and pin disc elbows. It is good to see that Jakks Pacific is giving us elbow joints on the Sonic figures now. I remember back when they first started putting out the Sonic figures with no elbows, they said that it was because Sonic figures' arms are so thin. I wish people would stop revving their cars outside. Sonic figure arms are so thin they wouldn't be able to put elbow joints in there without breaking the sculpt, which never really made sense to me because they put out the Splatoon Inkling girl figure a couple years prior, and her arms are every bit as skinny as the Sonic figures, and she had proper elbows, so why couldn't they put them in the Sonic figures from the beginning? That doesn't make any sense. There are also ball joints in the ankles, which are really good because they help you get his feet flat on the ground when you pose him, making the figure much easier to stand even if he didn't have a figure stand. That's the one thing that the Jakks Pacific line immediately got better than Jazzwares. Ball jointing the ankles makes these figures so much more easy to stand. Although there is one issue I have, I feel like the plastic used is a little bit too soft. Like, when I move his joints, they feel like they're squishy and they don't want to move. And I really feel like I have to be right up next to them and gently moving them because I'm afraid that I might tear or snap them. Because, like, the plastic isn't strong enough to overcome the friction. You know, like, I don't know. That's just... There's a certain delicacy that I feel this has, which is fine for an adult collector like me, but I feel like a kid will accidentally break this while they're playing with it, and I feel like that would just cause a lot of unnecessary heartbreak. I don't know what the solution would have been. Like, I don't know if like you can make the plastic a little bit stiffer, but then if it was too stiff, then it might simply snap on you instead of, you know, like that which doesn't bend. But I don't know, like I feel like this is a little bit too far in the softness direction. All right, so that's the posability taking over, and well, let's just get a close look at that sculpt. I love that determined look on his face. The smile, which is sculpted and painted in, so it has detail. No real paint defects as far as I can tell. Everything is immaculately well painted. No erroneous dots, no missed spots. And the spine pattern of Movie Sonic is preserved. 3 spines in the middle and 3 spines on his back. That's how you know that it's different from the proper video game Sonic. Although his spines are shorter, it's kind of funny. With the green eyes and the shoes, it's very evocative of the you know, like modern Sonic when you think about it. But the fact that the shoes have no visible buckles and his spines are so short, it's like he has classic Sonic elements too. And then with the blue arms giving him some Boom Sonic, it's almost like Movie Sonic is the amalgamated Sonic. Details of every version of Sonic are combined into this one thing to make even the fact that he has 3 spines going down the middle of the back of his head, that's from Deke Sonic, the Saturday Morning Adventures of Sonic Sonic. So, like, yeah, he truly is an amalgamation of every Sonic that's ever existed. All of it combined to create the movie Sonic. The small details on his shoes are just great, too. You see that little tiny yellow tab there? They didn't need to paint that, but they did. And you can even see the ruffles on his socks. That's great. This looks so amazing. I can't get over all the details they put into this. Even the soles of his shoes. I have a pair of Pumas that look vaguely like this, and they have the same pattern on their soles. That's care. That's dedication. I love it. So yeah, that is the movie Sonic figure. It's pretty freaking fantastic. And now we move on to Tails. He has pretty much all the same posability that I mentioned with Sonic, so we're not going to go into detail too much. Although, this is another case where the plastic is a little bit squishy, and it makes it feel kind of weird when you're messing with his joints. But everything is just as detailed. I love how they got an adaptation of his shoes. And look, hold on. If you look, they're still red, so they blend in, but his shoes have laces. And you know what? That kind of makes sense, because Tails isn't a speedster. He doesn't have to worry about tripping over untied shoelaces like Sonic does, so he can afford to have shoelaces. That's my justification. Although the tail sculpt is a little awkward. Wow, that just kind of popped out. It's a ball joint that I accidentally popped off. And, the ball doesn't really have enough range for what I think it needs to do, because when his tails are up like this, it makes him back heavy, so he wants to fall over. But when you push him down, they come down lower than his feet do, so he's leaning forward. This ball needed to have a little bit more range so I could move the tails up a bit to have him standing straight with them tripoding. And I can put them out to the side, but that's still kind of awkward because you got to get it balanced just right, or else he's still going to be back heavy. Because the tail's shape will make him want to go like this. But yeah, aside from the fact that they should have had a freer ball joint for his tails, everything is fantastic here. And his face is good. He has the big open mouth smile with the pink insides that we associate with Tails so much. His 3 bangs in the middle of his head. I'm happy that they're keeping the big old bangs and not trying to go with a realistic hairstyle that would look weird. And if you look real close, his muzzle has fur sculpted in. It's a genuine fluffy muzzle, not just hair points that you would be drawn on a cartoon character. Tails comes with one accessory, which looks like a gun. And it goes into his hand like a gun, although you're kind of stretching his fingers. Except there's one thing. I don't think this is a gun. No. I think that they've been pulling a troll on us. Yeah, because that hand, there's no visible trigger and the handle's awkward, but if you put it in this way, then his hand doesn't have to stretch nearly as much. It goes in much more naturally. And then he's holding it like this. This is the Miles Electric. It's his little scanner device that he carries everywhere. I mean, they didn't put a big screen on it like we're used to seeing, but he looks a lot more natural holding it this way than he does holding it as a gun. They totally trolled us, making us think that they packed Tails holding a gun, but he doesn't actually have one. So, way to go, Jack Pacific. That is an epic prank on us. You got us, making us think that Tails had a gun. By the way, it's kind of weird that Tails' shoes are much less detail on the soles and are simply painted black. I'm guessing that they didn't have Sonic shoes are officially licensed Pumas, so they know what the sole pattern on those looks like, but for Tails they're just paint black. Alright. Now we got Knuckles. Knock knock, it's Knuckles. And when he doesn't have some extreme pre-assumed pose with his elbows fully bent getting in the way of his true posability, he looks pretty freaking great. Oh my god, this Knuckles figure. The Guardian mark on his neck is painted in, and it's not too high up, so you can actually see the full swoosh. His facial expression is perfect. He has that face of stern determination that we're so used to seeing on him. The dreads, they blend perfectly. Although, funnily enough, I've been complaining about the plastic being too soft on the characters and their joints, but on Knuckles, the plastic on his head is too stiff. The dreadlocks get in the way of the arms, so even though there's a joint for his neck, it doesn't turn very easily. You really gotta muscle it. yeah, you gotta put a lot of muscle into almost disarticulating that head to get the dreads to move past the arms so you can actually turn his head. Like, that is not something that's natural feeling at all, but once you do, you can, like, I'm just proving to you that the head articulation is there and he can turn his head, but because of the stiffness of the dreads, it's very difficult to do so. That's what I was trying to get at. The soles of his feet are also painted. Like, I feel like I have some Timberland boots that have this kind of tread pattern. So again, like, Knuckles wears boots. Go with that. Yeah. Oh, great. Now I can't. Hold on. I can't get his head back. Just get the arm down another way. Yeah, there we go. Back to normal. So yeah, like, again, elbow joints with the bicep swivels, ball jointed ankles so you can make sure his feet are flat when he's standing, and he looks amazing, just like everybody else. Details in the back, you can see his echidna tail, you can see his torso is bigger than Sonic's because he is taller and stronger, but it's not to the extreme level of the Sonic Boom version of Knuckles. Like, this is a good compromise. He looks bigger and physically stronger, but he still is mostly like he's not cartoonishly out of shape with everybody else. Like, you ever seen like Johnny Bravo? Like Johnny Bravo himself had like, his torso was so massive, and then like he had a friend, like that skinny nerdy guy, Carl, I think his name was, or something, and that guy was like a complete beanpole whose shoulders were barely wider than his head was, and like when they stood next to each other, like, if you didn't accept the cartoon aesthetic, you'd think that they're people from two completely different universes. But I digress. I'm just saying that Knuckles, I like Knuckles better this way. He has a different body type, but he doesn't look like he's from a different world. There we go. And he comes with an identical snowboard accessory to Sonic. And I do mean identical. I'm pretty sure they're not even like mirror reflections of each other. I'm pretty sure they just made the same thing twice. Although, I will point out the bottoms of these things are very smooth, like real, like it's as smooth as you would have a real snowboard be, so that it could be nice and slippery on the snow. So, yeah. I kind of wish that he has kind of this open sculpt to his hands instead of a solid closed fist. And I'm kind of wishing it was just a little bit more closed so that he could hold the board. Bringing in Sonic again real quick, because I just remembered I didn't do this. Yeah, Sonic is able to produce just enough friction that he can hold his board at least a little bit, but you'll never get into Knuckles' hand that way. Alright, so now that that's all said and done, let's take a look at probably the standout one, because this is the first time we're really getting a figure of this, and, you know, there's some star power behind it. And finally, we have Dr. Robotnik. Oh man, I've wanted a Jim Carrey Robotnik figure for such a long time. I mean, I did make one based off of the first movie appearance, which, funnily enough, seems to be out of scale. Oh well, I guess that's because this is a 5-inch figure and the other one's a 4-inch figure. Although, now that I've seen this, I do want a first movie Robotnik figure made. Like, this Robotnik looks great, but I don't want to forget about the first one. And you know what? While we're at it, I want action figures of like the other characters too. Tom, Maddie, maybe one of the GUN soldiers. Definitely a GUN soldier, now that I said that out loud. But yeah, like I would actually like the other human characters. Like, it's not always Sonic's show just because it's Sonic's show. Okay, so let's take a look at this guy. The head is on a swivel rather than a ball joint. I mean, I'm just so used to Marvel Legends that I guess I take ball jointed necks for granted. But yeah, this is just a basic swivel. You can look left and right. Getting in there, you can, once the camera focuses, there's a gradation effect on his mustache, so it has some color depth to it. He has his eyebrows painted. Eyes and irises, his goggles, all that looks pretty great. He's got the chin. Yep, good character likeness. Posability, he has not ball jointed, pin disc shoulders that get full universal movement. Interesting enough, a double jointed elbow. So look at that. It bends so much it actually kind of looks unnatural. But there's no bicep swivel or wrist swivel. Like, this double jointed elbow is more elbow than we needed. But yeah, like that is weird. That's an almost weird double jointed elbow. We did not need this double jointed elbow. A bicep swivel would have been fine with a single jointed elbow. This weird double jointed elbow, like, it's so weird. Nothing in the waist because his jacket is there, and he seems to have ball jointed hips, but I wish they cut up a little farther into his coat because the range of his legs is blocked by his skirts. And he does have a thigh swivel. No bicep swivel, but he does have a thigh swivel, and double jointed knees, which admittedly look a little bit more natural than a double jointed elbow. And he has a hinge at the foot, but only in one direction. It's weird, like every other character has a ball jointed foot that's so versatile, but Robotnik alone just has a basic swivel for his foot. But still, despite the fact that they can't really get flat in the ground in dynamic stances, it still works pretty good, and he poses and stands just fine. So yeah, it all still works out. So we have movie Robotnik in all of his Jim Carrey glory. Oh, I just kind of noticed that if you look, he actually has the musculature on the back of his head that an actual person has. That is some glorious detail. Alright, so Dr. Robotnik does come with accessories. First of all, he comes with a coffee. Oh, that's another action figure we need. We need Agent Stone. So yeah, this is obviously a chai latte with steamed Austrian goat milk, because he loves the way that he makes them, and his hand can easily hold it perfectly fine. Fantastic. And he comes with a second accessory, which is one of the egg drones. And look at that. When you open up its little flaps, it has all this paint detailing revealed. There's only two flaws with the egg drone, and one is when the flaps are closed, it looks great, but it's hard to open them again. Like, you really got to get your fingernails in there to reach into those flaps. Like, maybe if there was a little notch on the end so you could grab it with your fingernail and flip it up. But no, you really got to get in there. It's difficult. Like, I feel like I need to go in there with an X-Acto knife or a pair of tweezers or something. It can be hard. And the other flaw is that there's no peg hole anywhere in this. Like, there should have been like a little peg hole in the bottom so that you could like have it floating and hovering. As it stands, this is just a thing. It's a thing that you can hold and pretend play with, but as far as display goes, you just kind of set it down on the ground next to him. Although, to be fair, it does look pretty good next to the 2.5-inch Buzz Bomber figure. They look like they would pretty comfortably float next to each other in the appropriate scale. So, again, like, this is why I think, like, you were supposed to get the 4-inch Jim Carrey and then the 2.5-inch everybody else, because everybody else floats perfectly well next to this version of Robotnik. The scale works. So, yeah. I am absolutely loving this series. So all that leaves is the Tornado, which is the the famous biplane that Tails flies. I'm so happy we finally have a toy of. But that is a Walmart exclusive toy, and I live in New York City where there are no Walmarts. So I'm really counting on Zeus the Fox to get me that thing too. He's told me that he already found a crab meat for me, so I should have a review for that pretty soon. But I really want to get that Tornado so I can officially complete this collection. And hopefully they will make a second wave. I mean, we can have Agent Stone, like the full black suit with the glowing green eyes version of him that we saw in the final trailer. Maybe a Death Egg robot playset. Who knows? So there is more possibility for movie toys. Like, I'm wondering, will there be a wave 2? Because if there is, I'm here for it. But for now, this is Wakeangel 2001 signing off.